The room smelled like citrus and money. Champagne mist hung in the air when my brother leaned in, smiling for the cameras, and said it. "At least I'm not a loser like you." He didn't whisper. He wanted witnesses. I watched the bubbles climb the glass in his hand. I watched his ring catch the light. I watched the board members nod at him like he'd earned the future instead of stealing it. Then I reached into my jacket, slow enough to hurt, and set my company ID on the marble bar. "Actually," I said, calm as a signature, "I'm your new CEO." The glass slipped from his fingers. It didn't shatter loudly. It shattered completely. We didn't start like this. We started as kids sharing a room with one desk and one dream. He was loud. I was precise. He talked his way into rooms. I read my way through them. When our father built the company, he taught us both, but in different ways. My brother learned to perform. I learned to listen. The night Dad died, my brother held my shoulder and promised we'd run it together. He said blood mattered. He said trust mattered. I believed him because I wanted to. That was my first mistake. The betrayal didn't arrive as a single blow. It came as drafts, missed meetings, documents routed around me, a calendar that stopped syncing. Then the small humiliations. He'd forget to loop me in. He'd joke about my caution like it was cowardice. The board laughed. I smiled. The evidence found me when I stopped chasing explanations and started tracking patterns. A private server invoice paid from a shell account. A consulting firm that didn't consult. An NDA signed by a name that never appeared in the building. Then the message. One line sent late, meant for someone else. "Once he's out, we can clean the cap table." I didn't confront him. I didn't cry. I didn't warn him I was awake. I made a list. I learned the bylaws better than the lawyers. I learned who owed favors and who was tired of being charmed. I learned which contracts had teeth and which had rot. I let him promote himself, louder each quarter, until he was visible enough to cast a shadow. I moved quietly. I bought debt no one thought mattered. I renegotiated clauses he'd skimmed. I found the missing compliance reports and filed them properly. I didn't expose him. I framed the truth so it would introduce itself. When the audit committee asked questions, I answered only what they asked. When the board worried, I offered solutions without names. When a vote required an abstention, I gave them a reason to doubt his timing. Every step felt small. Together, they were a trap. He celebrated the VP title like a coronation, cameras, toasts, the narrative of inevitability. He spotted me late, smirked, and delivered his line. He thought this was the end of my relevance. I let him finish. When I placed the ID down, the room leaned in. Someone laughed, sharp and unsure. My brother looked at the card like it might explode. Then the chair of the board cleared her throat and confirmed it. Interim CEO, effective immediately, ratified, filed, public. My brother tried to speak. He couldn't find the first word. I didn't help him. I watched the math hit his face. The debt I held. The clauses he'd violated. The votes that had shifted while he practiced speeches. "You planned this," he said finally. "No," I said. "I prepared." Security didn't touch him. They didn't need to. The board did the work. Questions became conclusions. Conclusions became requests for resignation. He reached for me once, a brother's reflex, and I stepped back. After, when the room emptied and the staff returned to breathing, I stood alone at the bar. The marble was nicked where the glass fell. I liked that it would stay. A reminder that sound doesn't equal force. I didn't feel triumph. I felt alignment. Things were where they belonged. I'd lost a brother long before tonight. What I gained was quieter. Authority without apology. Justice without spectacle. Power isn't loud. It doesn't boast. It waits until the floor is ready, then lets gravity do the rest.